So today's video is going to be upgrading our water main from 15mm to 22mm, hopefully to increase our flow rates. Now flow rates aren't the same as pressure. Pressure is easily read off a gauge, whereas flow rates are a bit harder to measure. Flow rates you can either measure using one of these flow rate cups, or you could fill a bucket and time it your litres per minute. You can see we've got about 20 litres a minute at the kitchen sink here. Hopefully after the job we'll test it again and we'll see an increase. Although our flow rates are already good, I want to get them as high as possible as we've got 2 bathrooms. Ideally an unvented cylinder should have at least 25 litres a minute supplying it. I've got my brother-in-law working with me today, who is a qualified professional, so has some tools that are normally out of reach to a DIYer like myself, so those should be fun to try out. As always, the links to the tools I use will be in the description below. The water main currently comes in 20mm MDPE under the floor here, and then goes into 15mm copper. So we're going to cut out the floor of this cupboard here to reach over and pull that pipe out. Now we've cut the floor out, we can access the pipe. Now first job is to turn the stopcock off. So how does one...
Yeah.
The current stopcock we have in the house isn't a full bore valve, it's a gate valve which really constrict flow. So today we're going to be adding in a full bore valve, which are much better and they only need a quarter turn to go on or off. Full bore gets much better flow rates compared to a gate valve. You can see on this one I've got here the difference between the gate valve type and the lever bore valve type, where the space for the water to travel through on the full bore valve is the same as the diameter of the pipe. So we're going to cut the 15mm off, extend the 20mm MDPE and take it into 22mm copper. Perks having a professional, you get the professional tools.
When it doesn't cut.
We're going to start by undoing the nut on the house side of the water main. The reason is that there's no drain off. This way we can have a controlled drain off from the pipework inside the house. So when someone fitted this, they forgot to put a drain off in. So when we refit our new pipework in, we're going to put a drain off on. So we're going to use a wet vac to suck the water out rather than just waiting for it to drain off. It's a lot quicker. The current water main runs along this wall behind me, behind the kitchen units. So we're going to have to cut some sections out of the back of these units so we can access the pipework. This is where a multi-tool is invaluable. Although we do need to be careful because there's a 28mm gas pipe also running along behind this wall, and hitting that would be a very annoying mistake to make. There's also another stopcock behind here of the gate valve type. This one though is seized up. I think in some point in the past someone's just decided to add a new one rather than fixing this seized up stopcock. In theory there shouldn't be any water left in these pipes as we hoovered it all out. There isn't a lot of room to get this old pipe out though, so I'm going to be using the pipe slice to cut small sections and pull each piece out individually. Now we've removed the old main, we need to get the new one in. The existing hole in the wall isn't big enough to fit a 22mm pipe through, so we're going to have to drill it out and expand that. Currently the gas meter is in the way of getting this drill bit in, so we're going to take the gas meter off temporarily. Now this isn't something that's suitable for a DIY to do normally, but I've got a qualified professional here who can take it off.
Sorry.
No, it's alright, no, just push me over.
And you've got little
Now the meter is off, we've got the space to get the drill in and expand this hole. I've got a 30mm SDS bit here. It's always handy to have the hoover when drilling a hole in the wall, as you can suck up the excess dust and stop that getting into the house. Now we've drilled the hole, we're going to get the gas meter back on.
First, our O-rings. I'll line up the lines again. Then we'll do.
Now the gas meter's back on, we need to do a tightness test.
Okay. Fill the system. Obviously got that there. And we're going to top this up. Take it 10 millibar, and then we do.
It's important to sheath pipes going through a masonry wall. It avoids damage to the pipe. Now we're ready to joint this pipework behind these kitchen cabinets. Here we're using press fit copper fittings rather than solder. Reason is these press fit copper fittings are a lot quicker and easier to use. Although the press tool is fairly expensive, for a professional they're quite commonplace now. These press fit fittings have a rubber O-ring inside them. The press compresses the fitting onto the pipe and squeezes this O-ring tight. It's important to mark the fittings before pressing, as if anything slips out of place you could press a fitting in the wrong place and you wouldn't get your good seal. Professional toy. So, very expensive toy. We're going to do the same down here where we're jointing the horizontal and vertical pipes.
Right.
Now we haven't got space for a 22mm bend, so we're going to be using a 22mm copper push fit elbow. These are much more of a swept bend than your soldered elbow, so should give much better flow rates.
Spot on.
Next we're ready to fit the new full bore valve. We're using a Pegler one, they're a great brand, really high quality fittings. We're using liquid PTFE here, or jointing compound, on the olives to improve the seal. We're also adding a drain off just after the valve. We're using a press fit drain off here, as a lot less effort than the copper ones, a lot less mess. This one has a 1/2 inch thread in the centre of the T for screwing in the drain off to. The alternative is a soldered T with a soldered drain off, but the press fit is just much easier. For the back of the units I bought these access panels to cover the holes, which means we can get back to the pipe work if we need to in future. Next we remove the old fitting from the end of the 20mm MDPE pipe, and then I've used a 20mm MDPE to 25mm MDPE push fit adapter from John Guest. Used a short section of 25mm MDPE here, and then used a 25mm MDPE to 22mm copper adapter, and then we've taken our copper with a nice bend in it up through the floor. Now finally we'll check if we've actually gained anything in terms of flow rates. As you can see, we're overtopping the cup here, so about 22 litres a minute. At the start we had about 20 litres a minute, so small improvement of about 2 litres a minute. I think we can say this job has been a success, although it is plausible to say that most of the flow rate gain came from removing those 2 gate valves. I'm still pleased we've upgraded to 22mm. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.